The supreme profound and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter in a billion eons. Now I see it, hear it, receive it, and kept it. I vow to attain the true meaning of the Tathagata. In order to liberate all sentient beings, let us generate the supreme bodhicitta. Well, we won't have class tomorrow, but our classes will resume the day after tomorrow. We will have the 100 verses of wisdom and a journey to the West still. In terms of a journey to the West, I would like to clarify that I simply would like to give you the reading transmission while teaching. In this way, I think we will all emerge in the memory of Phuntsog Rinpoche. We will rest in that state of remembering the Guru. On one hand, it is of great merit. On the other, I believe Phuntsog Rinpoche will bestow each and every one of us special blessings because he had departed for 20 years, and we still remember him through this way. Phuntsog Rinpoche in some books also stated that he will depart first, but he will part from us first, but he will be with us in a different way. We have pictures and videos as well as the transcripts. I believe the Vajra words of Phuntsog Rinpoche would bestow blessings to you. I don't want to talk too much while giving you this teaching because I'm sure you must be really tired from having so many classes every day. But I really hope that while we're having classes, you can maybe circle or highlight certain parts that is very beneficial to you, and so that you can use it when you need it, and then when you have the opportunity to propagate Dharma outside. Yesterday, we've already talked about how Phuntsog Rinpoche made the remark that the majority of great masters in Tibet would take the two particular trainings as their main practices. One is bodhicitta and the other one is mahāti. So over here, Phuntsog Rinpoche specifically started on talking about bodhicitta. Over here, he says that with his great loving kindness and compassion, our root teacher Shakyamuni Buddha had repeatedly observed over countless kalpas what would be the most beneficial to sentient beings and would best help them to eliminate their sufferings. Through investigation and reflection, the Buddha found that there was no better way than to practice the precious jewel like bodhicitta. Bodhicitta can temporarily bring sentient beings peace and happiness in the human and celestial realms and ultimately enable all of them to attain supreme Buddhahood. Therefore, people in this world who want to be free from suffering and attain happiness must rely on bodhicitta. Last year, I had also translated a particular bodhisattva vow bestowed by Phuntsog Rinpoche when he was in Canada, and every one of you had studied it. All of the quotations within those teachings, in fact, were all recited by Phuntsog Rinpoche. And I think whenever you need it, you can make reference to that particular teaching. That would be really wonderful. When he was in the West, he would use quotations in a very skillful way because the translators, because he has to work with translators back then. So though he memorized those quotations in the original format, he would expound them in the common language that the people would be able to understand. Over here, it talks about, this particular quote is from the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, where it says that once bodhicitta arises in a person's mind stream, that person is no longer an ordinary being. The moment the bodhicitta arises in terms of the name, the person's name becomes that of a bodhisattva, an heir of the tathagata. In terms of the heir of the tathagata, if you remember that at the time of the Buddha passing into parinirvana, the Buddha started to get tears. And then Ananda asked him, "Why are you being so sad?" And the Buddha said that though that I am surrounded by so many arhats, but it is just like a rich man parting from this world without an heir, a legitimate heir to take on his family wealth. So I would encourage all of you to make the aspiration of bodhicitta. At time of bestowing the Dharma teachings, over here it says that all of the Buddha's heir being the ones who made the aspiration to bodhicitta. And then he continued to say that who is completely beyond the realms of mundane beings in terms of significance, from then on, the person becomes the object of reverence for celestial beings, nagas, rakshasas, yakshas, gandharvas, human spirits, and other beings. Knowing that the inconceivable benefits bodhicitta brings us, we need to cultivate bodhicitta. As an example, one tael of magical alchemical auxiliary has the potential to instantly turn 1,000 taels of ordinary iron into gold. In the same way, bodhicitta can quickly transform this ordinary human body that is impure and unpleasant into the Buddha body that is so perfect in appearance, and that beings will not tire of seeing it, and that can benefit all sentient beings at all times. Without bodhicitta, all forms of good deeds, including those of the body, like doing prostrations and circumambulations, and those of speech, like chanting sutras and mantras, would be like a banana tree that bears fruit only once and then decays. Quite the contrary, the good deeds carried out with bodhicitta are like the wish-fulfilling tree in the celestial world, or a fruit tree on earth, which keeps bearing fruit one after another. Bodhicitta can result in rebirth as a benevolent ruler, like a universal monarch on earth, or Indra and Brahma in the celestial realm. Finally, one can attain supreme bodhicitta to constantly benefit all sentient beings spontaneously and pervasively. With bodhicitta, the mundane negative deeds we have accrued from beginningless times, such as killing and stealing, will be burned in a flash, like a heap of hay incinerated by fire. Even if one has committed a heinous crime, such as killing one's father or mother, if one later gives rise to bodhicitta, one will be liberated in the snap of a finger, become from the lower realms, instead of suffering there endlessly. Therefore, those who want to purify their negative karma should also practice bodhicitta. These above are the few qualities of bodhicitta. If you want to learn this point more extensively, the Sutra of Great Boundness of the Buddhas give a detailed explanation through more than 100 analogies. If you want to understand the meritorious qualities of bodhicitta in the most concise way, keep in mind the following 3 points. First, if you possess bodhicitta, you will not fall into the 3 lower realms. Second, if you possess bodhicitta, even without a diligent practice, you will still effortlessly reborn in the higher realms of humans and gods. Third, if you possess the bodhicitta, you can attain the fruition of Buddhahood and pass beyond the cycle of old age and death. Now, Ponzo Rinpoche will bestow us the bodhisattva vow. He says that let us take this wonderful opportunity to receive the bodhisattva vow together. First, before taking the refuge vow, you have to take the refuge vow. Clearly visualize the space in front of you to be filled with the Buddhas of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, mahasattvas of the 10 bhumis, and then the lineage of Vajra masters with them as witness, we will generate bodhicitta. After visualize that, we will recite the following verse. So first of all, visualize Garb Dorje, Manjushri Mitra, Surkham Burche, all of the great lineage masters are right in front of the space, are right in the space in front of us. And then we should recite this together right after Pongsugur Rinpoche. All Buddhas who dwell in the 10 directions, all great bodhisattvas on the 10 levels, all great teachers, Vajra holders, please turn your mind toward me, I pray. This is something that we usually would recite, and now let's recite this together. The bodhisattva vow should be it would be the best to take the bodhisattva vow in front of a Vajra teacher. But even if you can't, you can visualize the Buddhas and bodhisattvas right in front of you and then take refuge vow. That is also permitted according to Nagarjuna's point of view. We need to first take refuge to the 3 jewels, and the first one is to take refuge in the Buddha. Without taking refuge in the 3 jewels, it is impossible to accomplish any level of Dharma. So first I will give the vow of refuge. The Pongsugur Rinpoche says so. When taking refuge in the 3 jewels, the first one goes for the refuge in the Buddha. That is to vow that from now on and for all lifetimes going forward, refuge is taken in the root teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. One will not convert to any other teachers who promote a different doctrine that goes against the Buddha's teachings. To make such a vow is to take refuge in the Buddha. Next is to take refuge in the Dharma, that is to vow to practice the Dharma that the Buddha taught and do not embrace any doctrine other than that. This is the vow of taking refuge in the Dharma. Third is to take refuge in the Sangha, that is to vow to follow the Buddha's disciples or followers, such as the Mahayana disciples, that is Manjushri, Vajrapani, Avalokiteshvara, and Pamasambhava, and so on. Then take them as an example to align oneself with them through view and conduct, and thus learn and practice the path of liberation. This is the vow of taking refuge in the Sangha. In short, even if life is in danger, one must never abandon the 3 jewels and promise to always follow them. Next, I would like you to recite the refuge vow 3 times after me. Now, you should visualize that I am taking refuge to the 3 jewels. I'm sure that you're quite proficient in reciting these verses recently, and I'm sure that you have already taken the vows. But according to this different lineage or different transmission, let us take this refuge vow again. Until the essence of enlightenment is reached, repeat after me. I go for refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the entire host of bodhisattvas. Now recite this for 3 times. After you recite this for 3 times, Pongsugur Rinpoche said that now you have already taken refuge vow. Do you know that? Do you understand? When we were in Hawaii, I believe many people came to see Pongsugur Rinpoche because of his because he was really renowned, and then some people had not taken refuge before, and for all of us coming from Tibet, this was the first time seeing so many Westerners taking refuge to the 3 jewels, and it was very touching for us to witness it. And then Pongsugur Rinpoche over here continued to say that today you have taken the refuge vow and become Buddhists. The difference between a Buddhist and non-Buddhist is whether or not a refuge vow has been taken. You also need to know that from now on, whatever Dharma you practice will have obvious results, and the power generated will certainly be significant. From now on, whenever you have any fear or suffering, just pray to the three jewels wholeheartedly, and you will certainly receive protections. If you wish for worldly fame, happiness, power, and status, just pray to the three jewels sincerely, and these benefits will come to you as well. After taking refuge in the three jewels, we must abstain from intentionally harming any sentient being and try to truly benefit them instead. This is the most essential. And then in terms of bodhicitta, let us generate bodhicitta. The main part for receiving the bodhisattva vow, the generation of bodhicitta has two types of bodhicitta. One is aspirational, and the other one is practical bodhicitta. Aspirational bodhicitta is the wish or prayer for all sentient beings to attain buddhahood, and in addition, practical bodhicitta is to engage in the main bodhisattva practices and discipline through the 6 paramitas of generosity, discipline, and so on. Now, you should join me to recite the following verses. The first time reciting this verse, you should visualize yourself has already generated aspirational bodhicitta, and second one generated a practical bodhicitta, and third one generated all both of them. This is also according to the Nagarjuna's point of view. Now, according to Sangha's point of view, if you chant the first verse, just as all the Buddhas of the past, for 3 times, then you would generate the aspirational bodhicitta, and then you should chant the second part of the verse, likewise for the benefit of all beings. If you chant this for 3 times, then you can generate a practical bodhicitta. And then for the third time, when you're chanting, so usually you would chant this separately. This is according to Sangha's point of view, and then according to Nagarjuna's point of view, it is that when you chant the first time, you generated the aspirational, and then second one is practical, and third one together, the aspirational and practical bodhicitta. Please chant 3 times after me, just as all the Buddhas of the past have brought forth the awakened mind, and through discipline, the bodhisattvas abide and are trained step by step. Likewise, for the benefit of beings, I give rise to the bodhicitta, follow their conduct, and will abide and train myself. Please chant for 3 times. Now, after chanting this for 3 times, you have already received the bodhisattva vow and have developed the precious jewel-like bodhicitta in your mind stream. You can now be called a bodhisattva. In terms of being a bodhisattva, there are the nominal bodhisattva and the bodhisattva in terms of conduct, and after having made such aspiration, then you can be called a bodhisattva. In particular, if on the basis of aspirational bodhicitta, you really benefit sentient beings through your body and speech, this is the practical application of bodhicitta. Now you have already become bodhisattva, you have already generated a bodhicitta, and then the next part we will continue from next class. Let us make the rededication of merit.